Hello everybody, I'm Tom Benson with Arts Missoula and welcome to November's virtual First Friday. I'm here at the Clay Studio, and the Clay Studio is part of the virtual First Friday, but it's also open at this very moment. And there are some other galleries that are open as well, so we hope that you can get out and see them either in person or view them here on the virtual First Friday. But I'm here right now to present the Arts Missoula Star Award for this month. Arts Missoula Star began a few years ago, and each month we recognize someone or a business who has recently done a lot of great things to promote the arts in Missoula. Some of our art stars are artists, some are musicians, some are business people who donate generously of their time and resources. Some are behind the scenes volunteers that you may not know about. Some are educators who make sure that the arts are a valued part of our children's education. But all of them have a place in our ever-expanding universe of valued art supporters. With the current COVID pandemic, there are lots of folks in this community who have responded with great creativity and energy to advance the arts and energize all of us. This month's art star works at the Clay Studio, where I am right now, and she responded to the current pandemic with affordable family clay kits, classroom clay boxes designed to be accessible to all experiences and age levels. She also was a key to the success of Pot Sketch, the annual fundraiser for the Clay Studio. She organized the live stream event and collected and edited all the video content. Finally, she developed a community workshop program offering low-cost one-day workshops for people to experience working with clay. In the words of the Clay Studio Executive Director Gitlin Valenzuela, pandemic or not, she's an awesome person. And I'm talking about Jasmine Raymond, this month's art star. Jasmine!
Yay!
Thank you. It's a super wonderful honor to receive this award this month. I've been at the Clay Studio for a long time, I guess it's over 10 years now, and I don't know, it just feels really good to get, this kind of appreciation. It really makes me feel good, and it makes me feel valued, and thank you, Shalene, for everything, and, being an awesome person yourself, and thank you, Arts Missoula. This is super cool.
Hi, I'm Tessa. I am a post-bac student at the University of Montana. I did my undergrad at Colorado State University in Fort Collins, Colorado. And right now I'm working on ceramic sculpture, things that I kind of base on little doodles that I do in my sketchbook whenever I'm bored. And so I set out some of these little drawings that I make here, and they are the base of what I then make with my ceramic sculptures.
we knew that this was the original location of R.H. McKay's art company. He was a photographer in town and worked on this premises from 1924 to about 1944. And during that time, he developed almost all of the large print format black and whites that you see around town. So we knew we had this art history, although the recent configuration of this building and property was in a diner format. But we did have a place and a sense of history that was created here through the photography and the legacy of R.H. McKay. That then led to our mural program. We thought maybe we can use some contemporary young artists and tackle some of these historic old photos of Missoula that were developed on this property. So the other thing about this LA program is we're wanting it to be self-sustaining and an economic engine for essentially mural art. Again, typically a one and done with bricks and paint, but in this system we were hoping to be able to continue the life of this artwork by moving it or selling it and taking proceeds and bringing it right back into the program. The frame system allows this art to be mounted and pushed forward in the frame without damaging the art itself. And that allows it to basically be disassembled and live another life going forward, either in a private collection or perhaps sponsored by a business, or perhaps kept together in the collection as a whole.
This outer frame hinges off the top rail. There's a top rail and a bottom rail. It hinges off the top rail and it locks onto the bottom rail. So you can jack the frame out about 18 inches, and then there's a couple kickstands that come down and you can lock it into place while you load the art and unload the art.
When we learned that the McKay Art Company occupied this site many years ago, we decided to build with both this historical framework in mind and its resurrected role as a home for the Montana arts. Ranging from a deep love of history to still current social issues to fantastical worlds, Missoula Redux hopes to convey something old yet new, connecting artists and the viewer across the divide of time.
I personally, as many people probably are at this time, just struggling to find, the positivity and the light. And so I wanted to bring some joy and a little bit of play to the image.
What my image means to me, I really just wanted to do something really enjoyable and fun and nothing too serious. And so I took the two books that it reminded me of, Wizard of Oz and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and kind of did a combination steampunk drawing.
It's kind of a connection to my childhood because it kind of represents the stories I was told growing up, and just a connection to my grandpa because he would try to scare us as kids and try to say like things would come and get us. So kind of connects to my childhood a little bit.
I think it's a really good picture of how Missoula used to look, with the really unique buildings and that unique feel that is kind of unique to this area of Montana. Those kind of downtowns with the really beautiful brick buildings and the architecture, and it was just visually appealing. The shape of it, the buildings coming in down the alley, and it just found it very aesthetically pleasing. I liked the little people.
I guess the concept that there could be this completely whimsical, kind of mythological scene happening that lines up perfectly with the historical photographs. I sort of felt like I was excavating this other scene from that moment.
It's like the historical context of the piece means a lot to me. Representing people in the past who are kind of forgotten to time and showing them again in a kind of colorful light. These women were here and they were in all the newspapers and they had their 15 minutes of fame and they brought it to Missoula. So, yeah.
Hi everybody, I'm Christy Hager. I'm an artist here in Missoula, and I invite you to come and see this exhibit when you can. It will be up until early February, so you have some time, and it really is an experience to walk through it. So yeah, please do. Well, the title of this show is Equal, a Work in Progress. And I was inspired because I realized in 2017, it just occurred to me again, that the Equal Rights Amendment that was tried to be passed by all the states starting in 1972, it had never been passed. We still don't have an Equal Rights Amendment, which allows for equal treatment regardless of sex in the entire United States, an amendment to the Constitution. So I wanted to do a tribute to women, and that's why this show is all women. I think what's special about art is that it is a cultural expression. It can speak to you without words. It can, like music, visual art, and so it can communicate on many levels besides the written word. And also, as a cultural expression, it can touch you in a way that reading the law is still abstract. And so this is a very non-abstract representation of these women's humanity. And what I feel is their very unambiguous birthright, which is equality, and which is all people's birthright. So this fabric is a cotton scrim. It's actually called tobacco cloth because I think it's a cloth that was first designed to shade tobacco. So it filters light through it, and I liked it because you could see the images from both directions, and I knew I wanted these to hang in space rather than being against the wall. So as you walk around them, you can see them from both sides. And also, I felt that this transparency, it made me think of just that our time, each of ours time on the planet is relatively short. And the working for justice and equality takes many generations. So I wanted to show these generations in relation to each other, so that you could see sort of through one face and one generation to another, and see how we're all connected.
Christy, do you want to talk a little bit about why you chose to include some historical figures or women that you didn't know personally?
Well, there's only 2 women in the show that I didn't know personally, and that's my great-grandmother and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I really wasn't sure that I should do a portrait of a famous person. And, but because of the Equal Rights Amendment and her specific work as a lawyer before she became Supreme Court Justice, I felt like I was drawn to do her portrait. And so I just said, I'm going to do it. If it doesn't work in the exhibit, fine. I have to do her portrait just because she means so much to me. And so I had the disadvantage of not having ever met her and not being able to take her portrait, because when I take a photograph of my friends, I'm in control of the lighting and the gaze and everything. But she had a lot of formal portraits done, and I was able to find one that I felt would work. And so I'm really, it's very important to me at this time to have this portrait done and be included in this show, as she was a champion of equality for everybody, but she was always aiming to uplift women, because she experienced a lot of discrimination. She graduated at the top of her class in law school and couldn't get a job in New York because she was a woman and a mother and Jewish. And then she got a job in academia, her first teaching job, because she couldn't get a job in the law office. And they said, well, we're going to hire you, but we're going to pay you less because your husband has a good job. And so as a woman on the faculty, law faculty, you're going to get paid less than men. It's just the way it was, and it's still not over in terms of equal pay. So I think that having her in the show is especially poignant at this time.